Cooksy Mob, what's up? Hey, I got a fun one today. Ben Riddle. For those of you that don't know, he was a promising amateur from the late 90s into the early 2000s who ran into some troubles with the law, troubles with drugs. He only made it a couple years as a pro. But we get into a lot of that. But he's so dominant, so talented, and there's so many guys who the sport just casts aside. And like I said, you guys know I've been very open about the 8 people that I've lost to suicide that are direct friends of mine in this sport. And it's gnarly and it hurts. But when you see a story like Ben's where he's coming back, he's racing, he's having fun, he's coaching kids again, it's pretty cool. So I wanted to focus on that. And man, I really enjoyed talking to him. I'm sorry that the video where he was at the ranch right now, Loretta Lynn's ranch, so the video didn't work. We tried. I mean, he ran up and down the hill like 4 times trying to find a spot. So we just went audio only. So apologize for that, but man, take a listen. Ben has got some advice, and man, what a genuinely nice guy. Yeah, take a listen. And I want to thank my sponsors, Complete Med Solutions. You guys know Coach Rob. Complete Med Solutions, get your blood tested, find out where you're at, what you need to become optimum. Epic Garage Designs. You guys know Epic. If you need slat wall is probably the easiest thing you can do to your garage to make it look cool and get things off the ground. They have little racks. This stuff holds 95 pounds per square foot with the PVC and 200 pounds per square foot for aluminum. And then Ride Strapped or strapped goggles, ridestrap.com. Use code Cooksy at checkout. Get yourself some Let's Go Brandon or We the People goggles. Sea of 7. You guys know Sea of 7. They got some cool stuff. Use code Brody for 20% off. And let's get into this. Here's Ben Riddle, former factory Suzuki rider and amateur standout.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
All right, guys. So we had a little video difficulties with Mr. Ben Riddle, but who I've got here is one of the most decorated amateur racers in the sport's history. Like, he was one of the best to come out of Loretta Lynn's. He won like 4 or 5 championships in a row on his way to a factory Suzuki ride, and he's making his return 23 years later. Ben, what's happening, brother?
Oh, not much, man. Sitting up on the hill trying to get some service, soaking it all in right now, soaking it all in, every bit of it. It's
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because I did a piece the other day called it the Loretta Lynn's lie. And what I was talking about is the lie is that there's this like carrot of millions of dollars in success if you can win Loretta's and get to a pro contract. But your story's a little different. You did that. You won all that. You went factory and then made less money, right?
Oh yeah, made a lot less money. Like, as an amateur, it just seemed like, I mean, I had a parts allowance and the bikes and stuff that they gave me. The end of the year we could sell, and just the money they gave my mom and dad to travel. It was so much just to travel on. A lot of it basically went into my bank account. So I made more money. Our family made more money at the time than I did whatever when I was pro.
Wow, that's crazy, and most people don't quite understand that. And you came up in the 2-strokes. So, I mean, did you ever? Was it a problem for you being 6'4", 185, trying to ride a 250 or the 125 at the time, which is now the 250 class?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a handicap. Let's just say that. Like, I had to ride a lot harder. I had to carry a lot more momentum, and just me being bigger than everybody else, it was hard for me. You know what I mean? So down the straightaways and stuff like that, for the guy that weighed 140 pounds and I was 185, they killed me on horsepower. So I had to work a lot harder just to carry my momentum and my corner speed, which made up for everything that I lost in the straightaways.
Well, if I remember correctly, you didn't go to factory Suzuki. You went to Moto World Suzuki, right?
No, I went. I rode. Well, the last 2 nationals I rode for Bill's Pipe, and then I rode factory Suzuki for 1 year with Pastrana after he won his title. Kevin Windham, Danny Smith, and Roderick Thane was my teammates. And then the following year, I didn't get cut, but I got demoted down to the Moto World team, just where I didn't perform good enough for their, whatever it is, their opinion.
Well, and your team manager at the time was Roger DeCoster, and I've been extremely critical of the way he handles amateurs. He's just like, come in,
Oh yeah.
if you produce, you're in. If you're not, you're out. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
nurturing of talent. There's no like,
No, no, not at all. Like, I mean, I can give you a story about me being at Kevin Wyndham's, and I hopped on a 250 two-stroke and went out there and turned 2 seconds faster lap time on the Supercross track. But then when I hopped on the 125, I was 2 seconds slower, and I was willing to take a pay cut just to ride the bigger bike class. But he told me that I had to ride the lights to graduate up. There was just that kids didn't do that. They didn't go straight to the big bike class at the time, the elite class. So I was way better. I was way better on the 250. I was 2 seconds every race, 3 seconds some tracks. Loretta's, I was 3 seconds faster on my 250 because it pulled me around. So I kind of had to just settle for what he said, and ended up, you know, my career. God, I'm not saying that it was him, but I feel like if I would have just went right in and rode 250s, my career would have lasted a lot longer because I was a way better rider on 250s than I was on 125 because I had to work twice as hard.
yeah, and that's always been my criticism of DeCoster is there's no flex. His system works if you fit the mold, and if you don't, he's out. He's just like a puzzle looking for a piece. He's not looking to make you into that piece, and it's kind of frustrating, and it's got to be hard for you making so much money as an amateur. Now you take a pay cut to go pro, right?
Oh yeah, take a big pay cut. I mean, we chased a lot of local races and stuff, and then just the pay at the pro nationals is poor. and even with the pay from the pro, getting from the factories is good, but if you look at it like what I was making as an amateur, it was triple, maybe quadruple, but just because all the extra stuff, the bikes I got to keep. I didn't get to keep none of the bikes when I was pro. I had to give all them back. We had a couple that we got to keep, but we didn't get to keep all the fancy parts and stuff like that. But when I was an amateur, anything that was custom made or anything that I had, I got to keep, and we got to spend. I grew up in Kentucky, so I had a lot of friends and stuff that rode the same bikes as I did, and they would come over and buy stuff off of us and stuff like that because it was one-off stuff. And you couldn't do that when you turned pro. They wanted everything back. They wanted the bikes back, stuff like that. But when I was an amateur, literally 10 bikes showed up when I signed my Suzuki deal in the driveway in crates. And, I rode 5 or 6 of them throughout the year as practice bikes. So I had my race bikes at the races, and literally 2 or 3 of them got sold in a crate. They were given to us. So we made a lot more money off of that. I made a lot more money off of them bikes than I did even when I signed my pro contract.
Wow. Do you want to share what your pro contract was right off the bat?
40,000.
Okay, which is not bad, but I mean, you're talking pro level, and at that time,
Yeah.
I mean, but if you're making
And
4 times that,
I had other endorsements, yeah, some other endorsements and stuff, but my base contract was 40,000. I made 250,000 my last year amateur
wow.
with all the races that I rode. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, if my results were better at the nationals, I would have made more money, but still nothing like the result, the pay that I made at all the amateur stuff, because I made quite a bit at amateur races. Because the contingency, like I would get double contingency from Suzuki, so I'd take it to my shop and they give me cash. I'd
Wow.
get cash for, like, so if I took $2,000 in, I'd get $1,000 cash from the shop. This is back in the heyday, before everybody's pockets got tight, I guess. But I took advantage of the situation, and I made a lot of money. The last 2 years is racing in my A classes and pro class before I turned pro. I made quite a bit of money as an amateur.
And now, did you want to go pro, or is that something where Suzuki said you're going up? Who made that
Oh
decision?
no, I wanted to go pro. I literally wanted to go pro the year before, and before I even went to Loretta's, I was fast enough to go pro and do good. And I had to ride one more year amateur because they already had Pastrana. He just signed a deal, and I took his ride on Suzuki. So they were like, "Hey, look, we want you to do one more year amateur." And I was like, "I'd rather just go on and go pro." I was ready. I thought I was ready. And then I ended up getting hurt in many O's. I broke my back and my neck and a collarbone, some other stuff. So it kind of set me back, which I feel like if I didn't do that, I think maybe I wouldn't have got the same amount of pay or ride, but I think I would have had a little bit better odds at my pro career.
Yeah, and you had some top 10 finishes in Supercross that first year, so it wasn't like a complete failure. It was pretty good. But
Yeah, I had some decent finishes. I had a lot of crashes though. Like some of them finishes should have been a lot better. Like I led my heat race, my first pro Supercross. I led my heat race until Sellards brought past me, and then Pastrana actually brought past both of us. Like 2 turns to go, I led the whole heat race in Indy. And I mean, I rode good. I mean, my lap times at the test track were a lot better than it was at the Supercross. I don't know if it was just nerves or just, I don't know. It was one of them things that I just never really got. I mean, I love Supercross, but I never really got comfortable. You know, I was more of an outdoor guy, but I was also more of a big bike guy because I was struggling to get over some of the jumps, some of them smaller kids. And when the 4 strokes come out, I could see them guys jump stuff, and it was like, oh, I got this, and then I ended up coming up short and crashing, or it was just the bike wouldn't pull me, even though it was a factory bike. It just didn't have the horsepower to pull my big ass around.
yeah, so what happened? So you get the first year with Suzuki. DeCoster says, you didn't make it in my little system. Um, where do you go from there?
I ended up going to Moto World, and I rode with Damon Huffman, uh, Andrew Short, and I think Danny Smith jumped over to that team that year too. And I moved up to 250 class, and I didn't race the first 6 or 7 rounds because I ended up breaking my leg in Washougal the year before, and the doctors kind of messed up my ankle. So I had to take off a while just to get rehabbed, and then I come straight off the couch. And I think I made my second main event in Dallas. And, we went out and made the main, I'll be honest, got paid by the team because if I made, showed up, I got $1,000 to show up for expenses. And then I made the main, I got paid. And I went out and rode around a little bit and just basically finished the race out. And then every weekend I tried to build from there. And I ended up going to Vegas, and I was running fourth in the heat race, and I come up short on like a triple into a turn, ended up catching a handlebar in my gut and got lacerated my liver, and I couldn't ride. They wouldn't let me ride for like 8 weeks. So I was off from the last round until Unadilla. And I went to Unadilla and pretty much bombed it. I wasn't ready for that. You know what I mean? It was one thing after another. And then I got back home and was riding, and ended up with a concussion at my own local track, at one of my practice tracks I was riding. And it was just one thing after another. And literally just said, and I went to Steel City, kind of was like, I told my team manager, Paul Lindsay, like, I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I'm done doing this. Like, I was just tired of getting hurt. It was consistently over and over and over again. And I was having maybe too much fun off the bike. You know what I mean? It was kind of clouding my judgment, and decided I wasn't going to race no more.
Yeah. Do you want to get into the off the bike stuff? Because it's brutal when you go from
Oh, yeah.
being a star in the amateurs, then you get in the pros, and it's like everything's taken away. Up until that point, you're pretty much told you're going to be a factory rider. This is your career. You're going to be a star. You don't think about anything else. And then to have all that ripped from you, it's pretty devastating, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it was, yeah, it kind of hurt. You know what I mean? Moving down to the other team, I was still getting the same pay, but it was just where I was off the bike for so long, and then hanging out where I never went to school. I was homeschooled. So like when I was hanging out with all my friends, I saw the normal life of going out, and my buddies were graduating high school and proms and going to college and partying. And it was just like one thing after another, you know what I mean? Like I found myself kind of caught up partying too much more than I was riding. You know what I mean? Like the weekends that I wasn't racing, my buddies, oh, let's go out and go to the club and let's do this and do that. And it was next thing you know what I mean? I was out just doing dumb shit that I shouldn't have been doing. And I was still doing all my stuff through the week, my training and all that stuff, and making sure I was riding. But on the weekends that we wasn't racing, it was like I was out partying and just clouding my judgment as a rider. And it only, it compounded what could have been better and made it a lot worse.
Well, and when guys turn pro, and I don't know how much of this has changed since your day, was there anyone there to say, hey, now you're a pro, this is what we do, this is how to do it? Did they offer any sort of a support system?
No, hell no. There's nothing. You did it on your own. You winged it. I mean, it was me and my dad, and then me and my dad didn't get along for a while when I, I wasn't doing what he thought was going to be beneficial to me. So me and him kind of parted our ways, and I was doing everything on my own. I bought my own house, my girlfriend, and it was like I was trying to do everything by myself, which I needed somebody there. Which like my dad was there my whole amateur career, and everything worked out great. You know what I mean? It wasn't peaches and cream, but when he was there, shit worked right. And when he wasn't there, I quit. You know what I mean? Because I just couldn't put nothing together with that. You know what I mean? Like there was no guidance, so there was nobody there to really like, hey, look, and like coaches back in the day didn't exist. You know what I mean? Like if I was pro now and I had a coach and somebody can like pull me in the right direction, my career would have been totally different. If I had myself, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say it like that, but if I knew what I know now, shit, I would. It would have been my life would have been totally different. You know what I mean? And stuff wouldn't have worked out the way it did and panned out the way it did if I just would have known a few things. And I didn't. I was too blinded by having fun. I had a lot of money in the bank, and all my buddies, everybody was going to school and colleges and stuff. It was just fun to have fun then, and now I look back and it's one of my biggest regrets is just not digging deep and literally like telling myself, hell, I got this. You know what I mean? I don't need to go do this. Instead of going out and chasing women and fast cars and having fun and partying, I should have been at the track doing this, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's tough. Like every other, you look at football, baseball, basketball. When a guy goes pro, the first thing they do is they put him around kind of a support system, a coach, a team. And even now, like the guys kind of have to hire their own coaches. They don't have to. It's really strange how that all works. And to me, the system's a bit broken in the sense that you get. Sorry, I know you're at MX Sports, and they hate me so bad.
No. We're on the same page on that deal too. So
okay, but what they do is they don't pay riders. They plan on the factories doing it. Essentially, you bring your own sponsors. It's not actually a professional sport. It's just one more opportunity for these sponsors to show off their stuff. So the only way to get rich is through those teams, and there's no. And it's very frustrating to me, and I just can't believe that they say this is how it is, and it's just take it or leave it, and they just burn through you. And look at the list of, I'm sure you could probably name like 10 or 15 kids that they burned through.
I know quite a few of them personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Izzy, Treadle, like I know a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of them kids that they just like, they use as commodities and they didn't work. Let's move on. And you know what's a shame is that literally they got to have a 2-stroke race inside of a main race that pays more money for a guy that got, I don't know, we got 16th. Carson Brown got 16th. He made more money. He made quadruple what Lawrence made. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't even make sense to me. He made like 16K or something like that. I'm not sure what the end up number was, but if you look at what the payout was for MX Sports, that's ridiculous. When they charge all this money to come in and watch the race, I can go on and on about it, but there should be more pot. There should be more money in the pot for the guys to chase after besides just relying on their contract. Because if that contract runs out and their talent don't, what happens? They go to the races and they get 16th. They end up with $400 freaking in their pocket. Like, what the hell is that? That doesn't make sense to me. And I can go on about that for hours. Like, so we're on the same page about that shit. Like, I'm completely on.
Yeah.
Like it drives me nuts. Like.
And I've literally got into shouting matches. Davey's shouting at me because he tells me there's no money. I'm like, dude, bullshit. I've ran through the contracts. I did the research. If you go to my Facebook site, I did an article with Glenn Helen. I got contracts from everything. I know how much money is there. And I said, dude, just go like every other professional sport and give 40% back. So a guy like you, could you imagine? So you go through your injuries, you're out, you take a year off, and you come back and you want to ride a privateer bike. As talented as you were on a 250, if there's a decent purse, you can rebuild your career back up off the purse and then get onto a team. But if there's no purse, there's no ladder. You're just out to dry.
Yep, exactly. That's why all the privateers are chasing these fair races and these local pro races after the race. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why these guys are going over to Canada and riding and making money. You know, it's just there's just
But
no money, and it's like they keep put it all in their pocket. And I'm not trying to say that there's not enough money to go around, but it seems like a couple of the people are lacing their pockets more than the people that should be putting on the show. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, that's a
and
very
and I've
generous statement.
witnessed that. Like literally, like when I was making top tens in Supercross, I would get my AMA check, and I literally like laugh. I was like, "What? Because what the hell? What the hell's this?" Like literally, I got a sixth at a Supercross, seventh or something like that at Supercross. I'm thinking I'm gonna get a nice little payout. I get my check. It's like $600. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that I made $600 when there's 30,000 fans in the thing, and you know what I mean? Like you add that all up, it doesn't add up to me. So,
And you paid 150 to enter the race.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when I did the Loretta's is a great race. It's really fun. I had a great time. I have raced it. It's a great experience, but it is not the stepping stone. Pro racing, it's kind of a broken system in my opinion. So now that you've advanced, so you had some troubles. Do you want to talk about that at all and how you've?
Yeah, I don't care to talk about it.
And part of the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I love the human side of it. That you made some mistakes. You're open about talking about them, and you're back in the industry helping kids not do that. So
yeah.
tell me whatever you want to tell me about what happened in your story.
So basically, I quit racing after Steel City and decided I was just going to go have fun and do some dumb stuff. And literally didn't really pan out for that. I ended up moving to Arizona and got some bikes and rode out there and ended up breaking my wrist. I moved back to Kentucky and bought a street bike when I got some Yamahas. A sponsorship gave me some Yamahas, and they gave me a deal on a street bike, and I ended up crashing it. Almost died. I was in a coma for a week. And when I got out of the hospital, they had me on a bunch of painkillers and so forth and so on. And I like to smoke pot. So I smoked pot, and I come back dirty. So they took my painkillers, and they wouldn't give me no more pain medication. When literally I was in a wheelchair, my knee, I had reconstructed knee surgery. I pushed my femur through my kneecap, a bunch of stuff, broke my back in a street bike accident, my skull, and they wouldn't give me no pain medication. So I started buying it off the street and realized how expensive it was. So I decided I met my buddy that I knew from racing in Texas and started selling weed. And I made pretty good money off of it. I almost made as much as I did racing dirt bikes for 2 years in a matter of 6 months. And my best friend told on me. And I went to prison for 6.5 years and learned a lot. Learned a lot in 6.5 years in prison. I learned what real life is and how bad struggles are for some people and what how bad it can really be. I lost a lot of family members and stuff. My grandparents died both when I was in prison, and it was rough. And I got out, and I got out in 2013. I went in 2006. I did 6.5 years, 76 months or something like that. Got out, served out my time, and got out and actually started riding right after I got back out. And pretty much tried it ever since then, kind of turned my life around.
Dude, and you're
started riding, bro. I got started riding. I rode for like 3 months. I don't mean to interrupt you. I rode for like 3 months and went to an area qualifier and crashed and broke my back.
God.
So I ended up breaking my back, and I decided I wasn't going to ride much anymore. And I had a bike or two here and there, and didn't ride. I started coaching. After I did that, I started coaching. I was like, you know what? If I can't ride, I might as well teach kids how to ride a dirt bike. So I started coaching really heavy in 2013, and been waiting. I was going to do plus 25 when I got hurt, and I felt like I was pretty could have been pretty good at the time. So I waited until I was 40, do 40 plus, and I don't know. It was worth the wait. I mean, like I said before, like I'm more excited now than I ever was about racing. My passion for the sport's way better. The thing is I don't have no pressure. I don't know if it was just because I was weak and I couldn't take the pressure of having to make results every weekend because I was getting paid. But I have way more fun now than I ever did racing back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there was times before I had big sponsors and stuff that I had really a lot of fun, but now it's so much fun. Like, I have no pressure, so I don't have nobody to impress or anything. The only thing, my biggest critic's myself. You know, I'm hard on myself about stuff because I know what I'm capable of. But at the same time, I tell myself, all right, look, you've not rode since 2005. Like, the last race I raced was in 2005. So I've not raced since then. And I've literally raced 4 times since January. I did 3 area qualifiers and a regional. So I'm having fun. It's fun. I mean, if you saw my face, if my face was on there, I'm smiling. I'm all shits and giggles. Like, I can't beat it. Like, and my little girl, I have a little daughter that's 6, and I got her into moto. She's got a 65, and like, she loves it. Like, she watches me race, and she's my biggest fan. And it's like, regardless of what, how I ride, when she watches me practice, she always, she's always there for me. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm just here to have some fun now, and and take advantage of, like, I got some great sponsors, HBI, Matt Bell, Darla Bell. They're the same ones that sponsor Masterpool. So I got some really good sponsors, and I met them a couple years ago, and he bought me some bikes, and I rode Hondas for a little while, and then he got me on Kawasaki's, and it's been kind of up from there. Last year about this time is when I decided I was gonna start riding again. And literally ever since then, it's just been up. I've not had this much fun in forever, and it's a shame that I didn't have this kind of fun when I was racing pro, because it would have told my career would have been totally different. So,
Dude, everything ends up working out the way it's supposed to. I'm a full big believer in that. And now, you get to share your experience. And to be honest with you, I look at a guy like you who's pretty much been to hell and back with injuries, troubles with the law, and the fact that you're able to turn this around, you're back at the ranch having fun with your daughter. You're somebody that can really teach some kids and teach them how to do it, and what not to do. And you've kind of been there, and you've got the receipts to show, like, hey, this is not a good road, and I appreciate and I respect that about you, brother.
no, I really appreciate it. I don't mind to tell people, because I don't want no kid that's up and coming like me. I get choked up about it, but I tricked my career off. I gave up when I shouldn't have, and I turned to shit that I shouldn't have done. And it's like, if I can help like 1 or 2 or 3 or whoever, if I can help one, I'm pumped. You know what I mean? Like, if I can give any advice to any of the kids, you know what I mean? Like, it's just stay doing what you're doing on moto. You know what I mean? Because everything else sucks. The life without moto sucks. It really does. Like, my anxiety, my I'm not trying to say depression, but I was depressed for years. And ever since I started riding, my life is like completely different. Like, once you got it in your blood and you take it away from you, you don't know what to do, and you try to fill that void with shit that doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's like trying to put a puzzle together with the wrong puzzle piece, and you try to put it in there different ways, and it don't work. And you look back and you're like, oh, this the piece that works. This is the piece for me, is moto, and being at the track and being able to watch my kids. You know what I mean? I got a girl rider here at Loretta's, Caitlin Lane, that I've been training for a few years, and she made it in both classes. She's made it like the last 5 years, and I'm with her family. You know what I mean? Like, they're like family. And we're staying and we rented a camper together, and it's like, I do anything for them, the same thing for me. And it's like that's what I like doing. You know what I mean? Like, I like watching kids come to Loretta's and do good. I brought a couple kids here that's done really good, top 10s. I won a championship with a kid that I worked with for years when I first started training. And that's, to me, if I can help them, you know what I mean, reach their goal and do something, you know what I mean? Not even in moto, just in real life. If they can, you know what I mean? Like, if they don't make it in moto, they have a good base for the real life, and they know what not to do to screw up. Because it's so easy to make the wrong decision. You know what I mean?
I love what you said there about learning life lessons. And if that could be emphasized more about Loretta Lynn's than becoming a pro racer, I don't want to take the pro racer dream away, but I want people to understand, go to the ranch and have fun with your family, enjoy the experience, learn how to work hard, because because you look at that, there's 40 riders in that gate, one's going to win. And even if you get all those wins like you, that doesn't mean there's going to be a happy ending. You need to
No.
have life skills, and I'm not saying give up the dream or anything. I'm just saying you got to be able to develop some other skills while in the process. And it sounds like, with what you've been through, you get that. And, that's pretty cool. If somebody wants to train with you, where can they find you?
You can look me up on Facebook and Instagram. RiddleMotocrossCoaching.com. My phone number, I don't care to give it out, but
No.
but my Facebook, my Instagram, and then Riddle Motocrossing Coach, RiddleMotocrossCoaching.com. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries, man.
But yeah, man, I appreciate it. Like, it's good. I'm so pumped to be here. We drove all night long. We left at 4:00 yesterday from Florida and got here at 4 a.m. And I've been up, literally went down and walked down the track at like 5:00 this morning in dark, just to take it all in, knowing that I'm getting ready to race again here. First time in 23 years. It's gratifying to know I come back. You know what I mean? At the same time, it's like humbling because I know what I put myself through. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I've not made my life easy on myself. You know what I mean? Like, I was raised in Kentucky, hard nosed by my old man and my mom. We never had money. We were dirt poor, and it's like I look at all these people here that got money and kids that they throw this money at, and it's like a lot of these kids take it for granted. A lot of these parents take it for granted, knowing that they can do whatever they want afterwards. When I was growing up, it was like, this is all I got. You know what I mean? I had no other choice. I'm not going to play basketball. I'm not going to, I don't have a job to rely on. You know what I mean? We're poor. So, like, I just see a lot of kids here that take it for granted that I wish it didn't. You know what I mean? Because they can learn a lot more from here than I think they'd ever do in any other real life situation.
Dude, I totally agree. And I hope they take your message to heart as somebody who's been there, done that, and you're back with, a happy ending. But I'm going to give you the same advice I give all my other friends that ride in the vet level. Listen, I'm sorry, Suzuki's not looking to sign you anymore. Go out there, have fun, ride within your ability, and, focus technique, and just bring her home in one piece. That's all we care about. So,
I'm bringing it home in one piece, but I'm still freaking sending it though. This is my place right here. I love Loretta.
Hey, ride as good as you can, but just
this is my backyard. This is
stay
my
within
backyard.
your limits, man. You make money coaching these days. You're not a racer anymore. It's hard to accept that.
I know that. I know that. That's hard to accept. I know that. I just love this place. It's like, it's always been like, it's my backyard. I live an hour and 45 minutes from here, and it's like, this looks like home to me. You know what I mean? Like, when I come down the road, it's like, oh, I'm back home in Kentucky.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great experience. But hey, I want to touch base with you after. We're going to find out how the event went and get some video. And
okay.
Yeah, we'll catch up again, Ben. I appreciate it. And like I said, I'm stoked for you. I'm stoked for your story. And I love your honesty and authenticity. So yeah, man, good luck. And we'll talk to you after Loretta's, brother.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much. And I'll give you a call afterwards, bub. Thank you so much. It means a lot that you wanted me to come on this podcast. A lot of people overlook me, and I really appreciate it. It means more than you know.
No, man, and that's kind of my thing is I get pissed that this industry does that. They shuffle people off and they act like they didn't exist, especially in particular if they have problems like what you had. I'm like, no. Let's not act like it didn't happen. Let's take a look at what did happen and just say, hey, let's not let this happen again. Let's learn from what Ben went through. 6.5 years in prison's gnarly. I mean, I can't even imagine, my man. So anyway, you've done your time and you are back, and you should be very, very happy about that. So
I am. I'm pumped. Like I said, if you could see me on the video right now, I'm smiling ear to ear. I've not stopped smiling since I've been here. I love, like I said, like, it's just good because I've been here 6 hours and I've talked to probably 100 people that are so pumped for me to ride. Like, I can't wait. You know what I mean? I got probably 40 or 50 people just showing up to watch me race. So I'm so looking forward to it.
Well, and that's why I say keep those emotions in check. And it, like I said, this is awesome that this how your story is going, because I don't know about you, but I've lost 8 friends that I grew up racing with to suicide, druggish, that type of stuff. It doesn't always end right. And that's why I'm pumped that you made it through, man. So keep up the good work, stay positive, keep coaching these kids and have fun with this shit.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you after Loretta's. I'll give you a call the week after.
You got it, my man.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.